Hey everyone, are you ready for an in-depth look at Demon Slayer Season 3's main villain? In today's video, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about the upcoming arc of Demon Slayer and its main antagonist. So get ready because it's going to be an awesome journey. Welcome back to my channel. It's Anime Hub here, and I'm a huge fan of the anime series Demon Slayer. Today, I'm excited to dive into the upcoming season of the show and give you a comprehensive guide on its main villain. So let's jump right in. Hantone is a major antagonist in Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba. He is introduced as one of the 12 Kazuki, serving as the upper rank 4. He is the main antagonist of the Swordsmith Village arc. Hantone was once a human thief and murderer who pretended to be innocent through his elderly appearance and frail look, constantly blaming others for his crimes. He is voiced by Toshio Furukawa in Japanese and by Christopher Corey Smith in English. The former also voices all of Hantengu's avatars Urugi, Sakido, Karaku, Eizetsu, Zokakuten, and Urami. Personality. While having several other personalities and emotions shown through his clones, Hantone himself is no doubt nothing but an embodiment of fear and cowardice. Even during his time as a human, Hantone kept using his age and condition as an excuse, trying to weasel away from his crimes and blaming anyone or anything like his very own hand. After turning into a demon Ioni, Hantone retained his human traits. While being an obviously cruel and horrendous demon who ended hundreds of lives, Hantone is still established as a deluded person who kept blaming others and trying to pretend, or even to believe it himself, that he is fully innocent. Background. As a human, Hantone was known to have committed many wicked crimes. He stole from numerous innocent people and murdered them in various towns and cities. He will deceive people to claiming that he was innocent. He would say that he didn't commit the crimes. His hands were solely to blame for his actions, thus hinting that he was also mentally unstable and delusional due to his claims. Eventually, he was captured by a high-ranked law official magistrate and sentenced to death by decapitation, despite his outrageous claims of innocence that were then silenced by threatening to cut off his sinful hands instead. While imprisoned and awaiting his execution, he was approached by Muzan Kabutsuji, who offered to help him after taking pity on his situation. Muzan proceeded to give him some of his blood, transforming him into a demon. After his transformation, he escaped his prison and silenced the magistrate who condemned him to death. With his dying breath, the magistrate told him that killing him didn't matter because eventually his past sins and actions will lead to his future fate. At the Swordsmith's village, Hantone crawled on the roof of a building, eager to fulfill their mission to avoid Muzan's wrath. He encountered Tanjiro and Muichiro Takedo shortly thereafter, swiftly avoiding an attack from the latter. He dodged a follow-up attack from Tanjiro, only to be kicked by Nezuko. His head was then severed by another attack from Muichiro, causing him to regenerate into two different demons, Sakido and Karaku. As Muichiro and Tanjiro attempted to attack these newcomers, Karaku blew Muichiro far into the distance with a single wave of his Uchiwa fan. The two then confronted Tanjiro and Nezuko, briefly exchanging biting comments at each other, with Sakido then attacking Tanjiro with a burst of electricity from his Kakara staff. The two failed to notice Genya approaching them from behind with a gun. Genya's shot was true, decapitating Sakido but failing to completely do the same to Karaku, much to the latter's amusement. The young demon slayer finished the job with his sword, but the two then turned into four. One of the new demons, reminiscent of a Tengu, grabbed Tanjiro by the leg and flew off with him, while the other impaled Genya with the Jumonji Yari. The former congratulated Tanjiro on figuring out their strategy, while the latter commented on Genya's weakness. Tanjiro urged Nezuko to help Genya, prompting his abductor to reprimand him for this, before firing a concussive blast of sound at the demon slayer. The Tengu-like version of Hantengu was surprised to find that his opponent had hacked off the leg holding him, a head then growing from the severed limb to fire the sound blast at a shocked Tanjiro. The disembodied head of the Tengu-like Hantengu was swiftly cut in two by Tanjiro, swiftly turning into two mouths that fired their sound blasts at him once more. However, their attack power had been lessened due to so many divisions, leading Tanjiro to cut them once more. The main body of the Tengu Hantengu appeared behind the young demon slayer, firing another sound blast, which was dodged, but followed up by a vicious claw attack to Tanjiro's chest. The Tengu Hanten ghosted about the sharpness of his claws, promising to carve up the young demon slayer, only to discover the youth had sliced his face in two. As Tanjiro prepared a follow-up attack, Teng Hanteng attempted to fire the sound blast once more, only to have his jaw cut off, the final blow incoming. Elsewhere, Karaku held back a transformed Nezuko, taunting her while Sakido told him to finish her off. The Yari-wielding Hanteng, Ayazetsu, offered to finish her off, only to discover he couldn't pull his weapon out of Genya, who promptly shot Azetsu's head into bits. Sakido reprimanded Azetsu for this. The Yari-wielding Hantengu then pulled his weapon out and slashed Genya across the chest, regenerating his head. Azetsu reprimanded his opponent for not dying immediately, and then noticed that Genya had begun to pray. Sakido commanded Azetsu to crush the scarred demon slayer's head, which resulted in the Yari being swung at Genya's head. The weapon hit nothing but the floor, the upper rank's opponent appearing behind him, swinging his sword at Azetsu's head. This ambush was foiled by a burst of electricity from Sakido, who was shot at by their highly resilient opponent, much to his frustration. Azetsu then swung his Yari, smashing Genya into a wall. Karaku commented that his allies were having fun, and told Nezuko that he was done with her, driving a foot through her chest. Karaku then told Sakido to stab and electrocute her until she didn't move anymore, ripping off one of Nezuko's hands off after his speech. She responded with a sudden counterattack, nearly decapitating Karaku and splashing him with her blood. Igniting it with her demon abilities, she then torn the hand that held his Uchiwa fan and the leg in her chest off. As Sakido demanded to know what Karaku was doing, Nezuko waved the torn arm and fan towards the latter, blowing him into the distance. She attempted to do the same to Sakido, who foiled her attempt by stabbing her in the neck with the blunt end of his staff and electrocuting her. Elsewhere, the Tengu Hantengu continued to battle Tanjiro, managing to land a blow while avoiding one from his opponent, and circled around for another attempt. Azetsu continued to confront Genya, who once again was praying, confused as to how he was still alive and wondering what he was. The demon slayer introduced himself, the name of the man who would kill Azetsu in his place. As the Tengu Hantengu swooped in for his next attack, he is stabbed through the mouth by Tanjiro, causing the two of them to crash into the building Nezuko and Genya are fighting in. Sakido, still in the process of electrocuting Nezuko, demanded to know what Karaku and Yurogi, the Tengu Hanteng, were doing, and manifested a Kakarot staff from his palm. He thrust the weapon at Tanjiro, who blocked it with Yurogi's foot. Sakido praised Tanjiro's instincts, as his electricity cannot be transferred through his own cells, and has his tongue cut in half, as his demon slayer opponent freed Nezuko from his other Kakara. Sakido attacked the young man from behind, pinning him to the ground. His attack was stopped from doing any further damage by Nezuko, who lit Sakido on fire with her blood technique. Just then, Karaku reappeared, using his fan to demolish part of the building his foes were fighting in, incapacitating both of them. He, Sakido, and Yurogi then prepared to finish the pair. However, their would-be victims recovered quickly, but were knocked down again by an electricity blast from Sakido. Yurogi swooped in to attack them, but his attempt was dodged. As the two ran away, Sakido reprimanded Karaku for his slowness, telling him to level the whole building, which the fan demon quickly accomplished. He then noted that the two no longer had any place to hide. Seeing Tanjiro with a burning blade, Yurogi was unfazed and charged in to attack the swordsman as Sakito and Karaku watched. However, Sakito realized that the youth's blade was just like the swordsman's from Muzen's memories, so much so that their very visages seemed to be overlapping. Tanjiro then unleashed Hinokami Kagura, Dragon Sun Halo, Head Dance, inflicting grievous injuries to each of the three emotion demons. A short distance away, Genya had managed to heavily injure Azetsu, pinning him to a tree with his own Yari and ripping his head off. In the end, Tanjiro managed to behead him using Hinokami Kagura, Flame Dance. However, the head Tanjiro just cut was not the real Hanteng, proven as the headless body of Hanteng continues to run away. As the sun is about to rise, Tanjiro finally decides to continue in via pursuit upon Nezuko's sacrifice. Tanjiro eventually locates Hatengu's real body inside of headless Hanteng's heart. Ultimately, Hanteng finally dies after having his torso slashed by Tanjiro. However, Hantengu managed to inform Muzan about Nezuko's immunity to the sunlight beforehand. Powers and abilities. Overall abilities. As the holder of the fourth highest title in the 12 Kazuki, Hantengu is an extremely powerful demon and can be considered to have been the fifth strongest demon in existence. Through Hantengu's blood demon art, he is able to create 4 clones of himself, all of them possessing the same caliber of strength as an upper-ranked demon. These clones were able to hold off and overwhelm the combined efforts of Tanjiro, Nezuko, and Genya, all of whom are seasoned and trained combatants. Genya stated that Hantengu was particularly difficult to defeat as demon slayers would have to play cat and mouse looking for the main body, while being chased down by 4 upper-rank level demons. Enhanced stealth. Hantengu possesses immense skill in being stealthy, which can be seen when he managed to easily infiltrate the Swordsmith village, one of their most vital and well-fortified bases, without any of the numerous demon slayers stationed there noticing. Hanteng later managed to sneak into Muichiro's and Tanjiro's room without any of them detecting him, despite the former possessing the ability to sense the presence of demons and the latter possessing an incredibly acute sense of smell that would have sensed a demon's presences from extremely long distances. Immense durability. Hantengu possesses a body so durable that not even Genya's bullets could leave a dent on his body, the same bullets which tore of the necks of his clones. Even when Genya tried to cut off Hantengu's body with his Nichiren sword, his katana broke before it could do any damage. Even with Tanjiro's bright red blade, he couldn't make a dent in his neck. Immense speed or reflexes. As an upper-rank demon, Hanteng possesses incredible movement speed and reflexes, being able to evade Muichiro's mist breathing technique and Tanjiro's Hinokami Kagura's technique without much effort. When he was in his tiny form, he could run fast enough that Tanjiro, Nezuko, or a demon blood-enhanced Genya could not keep up. Immense strength. Karaku displayed superhuman strength when he was able to pierce Nezuko's durable body with a single kick and ripped her arms off with his bare hands. Unlimited stamina, aching endurance. Like all demons, Karaku Hantengu possesses infinite stamina and endurance. When Genya shot off his head with his shotgun, leaving his head dangling on a piece of flesh and having his neck bones exposed, Karaku never showed any signs of pain but rather exclaimed in excitement over how he's never felt an attack like that and proclaimed that it was fun. Blood demon art. Flesh manipulation. Like all demons, Sakito Hantengu possesses the ability to control and alter his flesh to a certain extent. Sakito uses this ability to shape his flesh into a kakara, which he uses as a means to channel his blood demon art. He is shown to be capable of creating more than one at a time. Size alteration. Hantengu has the ability to change his size at will, as shown when he became a tiny version of himself in order to hide from the demon slayers. Biological absorption. Sakito Hantengu displayed the ability to draw in and absorb the bodies of Karaku Hanteng, Urogi Hanteng, and Eizetsu Hanteng fusing to become Zohakoken. Lightning Generation. Sakido's Hantengu blood demon art allows him to summon lightning bolts from the sky or from his kakara. The lightning generated have a wide area of effect and can cause those hit by it to lose consciousness or paralyze his opponents in an instant, allowing him to subdue multiple targets at once. One drawback to his lightning is that it cannot pass through anything made from his own cells, such as the body parts of any of Hanteng's clones. Aerokinesis. Karaku's Hantengu blood demon art allows him to generate and manipulate wind using his flesh maple leaf-shaped uchiwa. By simply swinging his uchiwa down, Karaku Hantengu can generate a gust of wind strong enough to blow Muchiro into a forest in an instant, leave gigantic craters, level an entire building, and crush Demon Slayer and Demon alike under its immense pressure, even knocking them unconscious. However, this ability can be used against him by anyone who has possession of his Uchiwa, as shown when Nezuko used Karaku's Hantengo own fan to blow him away. Spear Projection. Eizetsu's Hantong blood demon art allows him to project the thrusting attack of his Yari over great distances, allowing him to attack his targets from afar. Avian Physiology. Urogi Hantengu has the ability to mimic the attributes and abilities of avian creatures, namely in his large feathered wings and sharp talons. These large wings grant Urogi Hantengu the ability to fly at incredibly fast speeds, while his talons are powerful enough to cut through diamond. A drawback to this ability is that his body has to be extremely light for him to fly, giving an opportunity for his opponents to use Urogi's Hanteng flight ability against him. Sonic Scream. Urogi's Hantengu blood demon art allows him to generate powerful sound waves from his mouth. The power from Urogi's scream is strong enough to make Tanjiro bleed from his nose and ear. Menacing Aura. Zohakuten Hantengu possesses an extremely menacing and overwhelming presence. Tanjiro choked on his breath and felt immense pain in his heart from Zohakuten's mere gaze. His aura is so strong that Genya could barely stand and caused him to start sweating profusely. Ability Combination. As the combination of Sakido, Karaku, Eizetsu, and Urogi, Zohakuten can use enhanced versions of the blood demon arts of all 4 demon clones as a part of his own blood demon art. The dragon heads fashioned from wood that Zohakuten manipulates can unleash lightning strikes, like Sakido Hantengu, generate powerful gushes of wind that leave gigantic maple leaf-shaped craters, like Karaku Hanteng, emit powerful sound waves like Urogi Hanten, and manifest spear attacks out of thin air like Eizetsu. Zohakuten Hanteng is also capable of using these abilities from his body, as seen when he generated Urogi's Hantengu sound waves without the help of his wooden dragons. Wood Manipulation. Zohakuten's Hantengu main blood demon art grants him the ability to manipulate and alter wood from the flora in his surroundings by tapping one of the many drums on his back. This blood demon art can be used both close-ranged and far-ranged. Zohakuten Hantengu mainly uses this ability to shape the wood into 5 massive dragon heads that can stretch up to 20 meters in length. He uses his dragon heads to bite his targets or to swallow them and crush them inside their jaws. Zohakuten Hanteng so create dragon heads within the main dragon heads in order to increase its length. He also displayed the ability to manipulate branch whips to use to attack his targets. Fighting Style. Kakara. Sakido carries around a kakara fashioned from his flesh and blood. It serves as his main tool in combat when used in conjunction with his blood demon art, allowing him to summon lightning from the sky or from his kakara itself to electrocute, paralyze, and incapacitate his targets. Skilled Spearman. Yari. Eizetsu carries around a Yari fashioned from his flesh and blood. It serves as his main tool in combat, being used to unleash close to mid-range thrusting or slicing attacks, as well as allowing Eizetsu to block and parry attacks from his opponents. Blood Demon Techniques. Weeping Spears Gekirui Shitatsu Eizetsu violently thrusts his yari, creating multiple long-range projections of the spear attack. Crazed Cry of Thunder Death Kiyomi Raisatsu Zohakuten commands his wooden dragons to unleash bolts of lightning and powerful sound waves from their mouths. Countless Striking Trees. Muken Goju Zohakuten commands his wooden dragons to attack his target, making them rapidly grow bigger and multiply as they rush towards his opponent. Compressed Sound Waves Kayatsu Meiha similar to Yurogi. Zohakuten opens his mouth and releases close-range sound waves powerful enough to disorientate and knock a Hashira unconscious. At last, here is some additional information about Haunting. Muzan considers Hantengu to be normal, but finds him to be annoying and intolerable at times. It is revealed in the second data book that Hantengu had dozens of wives and children over the years, all of which ended up being victims of his killing spree. Hantengu is believed to be an elderly man due to his appearance, but his true age remains unknown due to his background being constantly changed. That concludes our deep dive into Demon Slayer Season 3's main villain Hantengu. Now that you know all about him, it should be easier for you to follow along with the anime when it premieres later this year. If you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to hit like button down below and subscribe for more videos like this one. Until next time, stay safe, everyone.